Hey, this is Mitch with Home Pride Properties coming to you from Clovis, New Mexico. It's about 25 minutes after 8 Mountain Standard Time. And today we're going to talk about deeds. And I will apologize first and say that my front-facing video camera is not working, so you're going to have to all imagine me sitting here in front of my computer talking to you. I'm actually having a pretty good hair day, so it's unfortunate that you can't see me. But we're going to do this without the video. You'll just be able to see what I'm typing into the computer. We're going to talk about deeds for a couple of reasons. The main reason is because hopefully by the time I'm done here, I will have convinced you why you don't ever want to buy another property in your own personal name for investment purposes ever again. That could be the tagline for this particular video, which is why I will never buy a property in my own name that's not my own personal residence, because what I'm about to show you is how easy it is for anybody in the world to, in many counties in Georgia at least, and probably in many counties throughout the U.S., find out who owns properties and when they bought them and how much they bought them for and so forth and so on. So I'm going to walk you through that. I'm going to try to do it as efficiently as I can, and throughout the video I'm going to suggest that you get some practice playing around with this yourself. This skill I'm about to talk about also comes in handy when someone claims that they owned a property. You know, I used to own 123 Main Street, or I currently own 123 Main Street, or they tell you that they currently are the owner of 123 Main Street, and you're not 100% sure that they are. So you don't have to take their word for it. And there are ways that you can find out. So for now, we're going to restrict our focus on Cobb County, Georgia, because Cobb County, Georgia makes it really easy. Cobb County is where I got my start. So if you go to Google and type in Cobb County deeds, as I have done here, and hit return, you will get a bunch of things that come up. The one that you want is the Cobb Superior Court clerk. The county clerk, in this case Cobb County clerk, is responsible for keeping track of all of the deeds. They are responsible for capturing and recording on public record the deeds, the various deeds and other public documents that are that relate to real estate. And some counties, like Cobb, make it really easy for you to search those deeds for free. Anybody in the world can do this for free. So we're going to walk through that right now. So it doesn't matter which one of these we pick, but let's pick this one. It brings us to this page. This is the Cobb County Clerk of Superior Court. Rebecca Keaton is the actual clerk. And I want the deed record search, so I'm going to click here. And down here it tells me that they have a brand new website that lets me do all sorts of cool things. I'm going to click that link. And here I go for data indexed through June 25th, 2020. Today happens to be July 1st, so they're a few days behind, but not that far behind. So here I can search by name, by book and page, we'll talk about that, by instrument type, by land description, cross-reference street name, and CFN. So let's do the obvious thing. And I would normally pick on somebody on the call if this were a live call, because there's no one here but me. I'll pick on myself and just put my name in here, last name first, then first name, and I'll leave everything else the way it is by default, and then I'll just hit search. And what comes up are a bunch of records. I'm asking it to show me the first 50 records, and it's only showing 40 of them, so that means I've only got 40 records total. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on here. And first thing I want to point out to you is that, again, I've done nothing that involves a paywall. I could be, and in fact I am, sitting in a completely different state doing this. You could be sitting in, a different country. Go to the website, and this information is right there for anybody to see. So I could be anxious about the information that's here, except that this is all publicly available. Anybody that's got Google and the internet could find this in minutes, just like I'm doing. So these are each one of these represents a record, a recorded document that the county clerk has received as a result of some real estate transaction that I've done over the years. Now I'll tell you up front, the reason why I'm showing you this is because most of these deals fall into one of two categories. In fact, all these deals fall into one of two categories. Either they are personal residences where I don't reside anymore, so I don't really care that you know that I used to live at 102 Bridge Lane, because I did, but I don't anymore. So I'm fine with that being out there because that's not my home any longer. Or they're investment properties that I did early on in my investing career when I didn't know any better. And so the reason why my name is showing up here for 306 Kamara, for example, which was a property we did in Smyrna, it was a condo, or 101 Bridge Lane, which was another condo we did. It's like our second and third or first and second deals. The reason why these are showing up is because we didn't know any better back then. This was 2000 maybe. 2001, I think is when we recorded this one. So 99 and 2001 are when we did these deals. We didn't know any better. And so we put our names on public record. But we know better now. And so since 2001, you'll see not a whole lot of activity except this 2018, because that was our personal residence that we sold 2 years ago. But all the investment deals that we've done since these first couple, I stopped putting in my name. And you should stop putting them in your name as well. And we'll talk in subsequent videos about what you should do, but let's focus on what you should not do. So I want to talk a little bit about what all this stuff is. So each one of these documents, first of all, let me just point out to you how scary this is. Each one of these documents isn't just showing up as an index list. You can actually see the document. So I can click this little thing here and poof, up pops up the actual signed document that we signed way back when we bought this thing. And everything is here, including signatures and there's my name. I mean, everything is right here. So, anybody can see this from anywhere for nothing, for free. So that's one thing. The other thing is, let's talk about these INST. This stands for instrument, which is the type of document these things are. Some instruments are agreements. Some of them are cancellations. That's what CANC stands for. In this case, it's a cancellation of an SD, which is a security deed. Some of these things are security deeds. Some of these things are WDs, which are warranty deeds. Some of these are quitclaim deeds. So there's a variety of different kinds of instruments. And if you're curious about what these are, guess what? You can go over to the little icon here and click and see what that looks like. So let's pick on this one because this was a warranty deed. This is back when we bought this property. When was this? 1999. And again, I could be anxious about the fact that I'm showing this on a video, but the truth is this is already out there. It's been out there for, 20 years, and it's going to stay out there for until, I don't know how long this will stay up there, but it'll stay up there for a while. So there's really no need for me to be anxious about this because it's already been up there. But this was the deed that was signed when my wife and I bought the property that we were living in way back when in 1999. And it has state of Georgia, county of Cobb. It has the person we bought it from, Mary Teschendorf. It has the parties that bought it. And again, it's all right there. What you'll also notice is that this document is only signed by her, right? She is giving us the deed. We don't have to claim the deed. She just has to sign it over to us. So she says, I'm sending the deed, I'm rendering the deed unto these two people, but we didn't have to assign to receive it. She just names us and poof, we now are on the deed. Deeds are what demonstrate ownership of real estate. So if someone says that they own it and you can't find a deed that's got their name on it, then as far as the county is concerned, they don't own it. And so when you get situations like that where someone claims to own a property and let's say it's in Cobb County, you look it up and you don't see them on the deed, or you see someone else's name on the deed, you have a right to ask them, hey, I see John Smith on this deed and not your name. Who's John Smith? What's the relationship to you? And you can do that, as I'm pointing out repeatedly, for zero money, at least in Cobb County. And that's true for most of the major metro counties in Metro Atlanta, and it's probably true for a lot of counties throughout the U.S. Most of these counties are going to an electronic system like this, where they make it easily searchable. In some cases, they make you pay for it a little bit. In most cases, they don't. And so you can hop on here. I will point out that I am not doing a full-blown title search. A full-blown title search is done by a professional person who does title reviews for a living. They understand all the intricacies of this documentation, and they do this for a living. I'm not claiming to be a title search expert, but I can go look up a deed, and you should be able to do the same thing. These SDs are security deeds. That is the document that captures the fact that I am securing typically a loan with a piece of real estate. So in our case, we had a mortgage against our personal residence, 102 Bridge Lane, and Wachovia Bank, which ultimately is what First Union Bank got bought by. Wachovia Bank wants to see on public record a document saying, if these folks don't pay, this is the asset that they've pledged as security for the mortgage that we're giving them, and that's the security deed. So if you pull up the security deed, you'll see all the language that describes not the details of the loan. It won't tell you the interest rate, for example, but it will tell you the amount. It'll tell you how much we borrowed, at least the initial amount, and it'll tell you when it was intended to pay off. So in this case, if you zoom into that, you see this is it was obtained in 2006. It was due and payable in 46, which is interesting. So it's a 40-year note. It specifies the property. It talks about some of the terms and conditions. And way down there, you'll see my signature, signing that I agree that I'm using this document to pledge as collateral our house in exchange for the mortgage that they gave us. And here I want to just point out this. This is the legal description for the property. So the actual physical address was 102 Bridge Lane, but for the purposes of title is recorded not by address, but by legal description. So all that tract or parcel of land lying and being in between and being in land lots 457 and 481, blah, 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 all that is the official description of the property. It identifies the property, and if you get the address wrong, but you get the legal description right, then you're still cool. If you get the legal description wrong and the address right, you are in a world of trouble, because the legal description is what everything is triggered off of. So you'll want to know what the legal description is. You want to know how to find it. And the way to find it is to go to a valid deed, security deed or warranty deed, and look at it's usually the Exhibit A or Schedule A, and it'll have the legal description there, and you can take a look at it and make sure that it's correct and accurate and right. But for this video, I just want to walk through, I want you to see the wealth of information you can get about a property. You'll notice that these documents have dates. These documents were filed at certain dates. These filing dates are not necessarily the dates that the documents were signed. These are instead the dates that the documents were recorded into public record. So what happens is you go to a closing, you sign a bunch of documents, you give it to your closing attorney, and then the closing attorney turns around and takes all those documents that need to be recorded and submits them to the county clerk, either in person or they ship them over by courier or by FedEx, whatever. And then the clerk, one by one, processes those documents, puts their stamp on them, and then submits them. In this case, they probably scan them. They certainly scan them electronically, and then now they're officially in the public record. Some counties that are very, very large have lots of these closings happening and lots of these documents coming into the clerk, and the clerk can't get it done all in one day. It may take 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days for a document to actually get recorded after it's been signed. So the closing may have been on the 1st of July, it may not get recorded till a week later. And so the filing date is the date that it actually shows up in public record, not the date that it was signed. What else can I point out here? I'll dive deeper into this in subsequent videos, but I just want you to see, if you are curious and you are brave enough and you have been doing real estate investing for a while, and you think you're okay, go ahead and put your name in the search. And again, just to remind you where we did that from. It was from the very first page on this county clerk's website. You click on the name, you put in your last name first, and then first name, full first name, and up will pop something. And then you can see what everybody else can see when you put stuff in your own name. Now, if you, instead of putting it in your name, put it into a different entity name, perhaps an LLC, perhaps a trust, then at least it won't show up in your name. Now, if you put it into an LLC and you use the same LLC for all your investing, then that's not a whole lot better than putting it in your own name, because then I can go and search for everything that your LLC owns, everything that your LLC shows up in public record as, and I can see therefore what your LLC owns. We'll talk about what I consider to be the best way to handle that, but again, the purpose of this video was to get you seeing what other people see when they want to know about you, and also to answer the question, how do I know that a person who claims to own a particular property really owns the property? If you look at the most recent uncanceled warranty deed, that's the person, at least that the county believes, owns the property. So assuming that there's not some pending deed that hasn't been recorded yet, if they're not on that most recent warranty deed, then as far as the county is concerned, they don't own that property. And whoever is on that warranty deed owns the property. This is the definitive source for ownership. It's not who pays the taxes. It's not who's on the insurance policy. It's who's on the deed. And so if I haven't scared you enough before, hopefully this will bring it home. Every single interaction that you have that gets recorded is potentially visible by somebody who's just sitting at a computer waiting to crawl into your intimate secrets. The example that I typically use is that if I'm an attorney, an unscrupulous attorney, and I wanted to see how many investment properties this Mitch Messer guy owns, I would go to Cobb County Deeds Online, I would put in his name, and I would see what shows up. And if I see a bunch of uncanceled warranty deeds indicating that he's got a whole bunch of property that he owns, then gosh, maybe I'm going to make my way over to his property and perhaps slip and fall, because he's worth suing. He's got property that I could perhaps tie up in a legal battle, and maybe at some point he gets so frustrated he just pays me off. So you make yourself a huge, huge target when you take title in your own personal name. Just don't do it. What you should do instead, we can talk about it, but at least recognize that you should not do it. I encourage you to go into the deeds for your county. Now, if you're in Metro Atlanta, whatever major county you're in, almost certainly has a similar system to this one. And just look around, just play around and see what you can see. See how much information is here, and recognize that these are live documents signed with live signatures and live notary stamps and all the rest of that stuff. So you can get a lot of information about properties just from this. And the more comfortable you get with this, the more comfortable you'll get with the whole process of closing, and you'll understand a lot more about how real estate works. Hopefully this was helpful to you and eye-opening, and hopefully a little scary for those of you who may have done a lot of investing in your own name. But at very least, now you know what the rest of the world can see, and you can take evasive action to protect yourself. So this is going to be, we're going to be covering this topic again later in much more detail, but I wanted to at least get you started down the path of seeing how this whole thing works. Let's